Fit 2 more syllables in there somehow.
What do you want me to know? Also, I just started the stream. You guys also tune in as well. You can do voice modulators right now before we decide to do intros and outros. I just advertised.
Modulators.
Hold on.
I'm just gonna speak like normal. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Okay, good. If I sound good to y'all, then I'm fine.
Let's see.
All right. Heaven, do you need the link or are you good? Cat,
Nope.
you weren't.
I'm literally on the stream right now.
Yes, you can hear our starting. You can see my starting soon. Thingies. Also, right. You guys should help me figure out emotes.
What about it, emotes?
I could get 5 emotes for my stream now. I need to make out 5. I sat there and I blanked on it the whole time.
Porygon.
I
I was
would
gonna
get
do that,
smacked.
dude.
I would get smacked by Disney so fast. Not Disney, Nintendo.
Let's say Disney.
Oh man, I quite literally was gonna do that very one.
Hold on. Am I missing something here? Right, that's what I'm missing. Alrighty. Good. We are in the official parts of it. Heaven, please do our intro.
All right. What's up, fam? My name is the Elementalist, and welcome back to 2.5 Dads. I'm here with my buddies Nexus and Crispon, and we were about to have not some, but a lot of fun talking about battle passes and probably whatever else really comes to our minds. So welcome.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
There
I
we go.
totally forgot to say the subjects. So today's subjects are going to be about a couple things. One of them is, as the title aforementions, battle passes. Two is going to be a subject known as live gaming versus making new games every year, which is what most sports games does. And finally, something I found that was really funny is we're going to talk about D&D today, specifically those videos I showed you guys. I don't know if you watched them, but it's the videos about Wizards of the Coast and how they handle balancing when it comes to D&D.
Oh, like the Quokkas?
With concentration. I think I need to
I don't know if I ever got that, but I definitely have a lot of thoughts on concentration, what they've done to things, because that's one of my obsessions. So definitely I'm in that.
Heaven, did I actually send you the video that
Nope.
mentions the joke? Hold on. Did I not? I swear I did. I did. Scroll up a little bit. Look up that how Wizard of the Coast treats 2024 Rangers.
Let's see. I don't think I've ever actually watched it myself.
This guy
Wait,
makes a lot of
refresh
D&D related content, and I kind of love him for that because he explains it so well.
Oh, I've seen that one. But yes, don't worry for not already putting in the themes, because apparently I can read what is on Twitch. So
And it works for
I'm
me.
already kind of ahead of it.
So let's start with first thing would be the battle passes, because me and Chris Bond were discussing this because I was looking at the battle passes. So the first thing I want to ask is, what do you guys think of battle passes as a whole in any media period?
Initially, it felt like a fun little way to get items in a game. And then every single company that does multiplayer games where you have your own inventory and assets decided to do the same thing. But the thing with battle passes is they expire. And because they
Mhm.
expire, you feel like you have to complete all of them. So suddenly you have maybe 10 to 20 battle passes in each game that if you decide you want to get the full like bang for your buck for each of those battle passes, you have to play all of those games. And it gets exhausting.
Mhm.
Now, oh, next you have him.
I was gonna say no. He has a point. I think you have to also we have to talk about which types of games are okay with battle passes versus not. Because there's some games that work very well with battle passes, but then there's other games that have had battle passes implemented that now gatekeep certain content, whereas other ones they don't gatekeep certain content as much as they do. They expound certain stories. You get certain themed items for whatever is going on at the time, whether that be skins for characters. I'm looking at League of Legends right there, um, or additional stuff that kind of goes down the line. I think one of the ways that one of the good battle passes, not as much battle passes that you have to buy anything for, but like Deep Rock Galactic does it very well. You have season rewards, and the more you play, the more you can get. And if you're not there, then you're not there. Whereas other groups, and I'm going to look at Overwatch right there, they're like, oh, you want to have the new hero? That's too bad. You haven't played X amount of thing to be able to unlock this guy, even though everybody was free. And so I think that if everyone would have implemented battle passes correctly according to their platform, it would have been okay. But since they're just like, oh, we're going to introduce it, and then a lot of them got very aggressive with their money grabs, I think that that soured a lot of people, just like Chris Bond was saying. Because then you're like, okay, everyone's doing battle passes now. I have to pay money, therefore I have to actually sink time into this because I paid money. And if I don't, then that's just okay. I gave them free money.
And then if you pay for multiple battle passes, you have to suddenly choose which battle pass you want to participate in.
Yes, sir.
I think one of the things that I really like about League's Battle Pass is the fact that you can progress it. You get some items, and once you can actually buy the battle pass, and it tells you how much more progress you would get. It's like cashed into it, so you can
Mhm.
play without getting the battle pass, but still get progress on the battle pass. And then it's just suddenly, if you see you played enough to get your worth out of it, you can just buy it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that that's a very good way to do it too, because they realize that not everybody's made of money, and it incentivizes you to play the game. Because if you've already like League of Legends is free, right? But for other games you had to pay, and then on top of that, they're like, oh, you want to get more? Here's battle passes. So this $50 game you bought, now you're gonna end up paying how much money into this game over and over and over and over again just for the battle
Right.
passes.
It was that way with Diablo 4. You had to pay 70 bucks to get into Diablo 4, and then there's battle passes in that game, and those battle passes were atrocious. And then how they implemented there's so with one of the higher dollar purchases, one of the higher tier purchases for the game, you actually get a battle pass for free, and then you can redeem it. Apparently, there was a very ambiguous button that says activate battle, or it didn't say activate battle pass, but it said battle pass or something. You click on it and suddenly it's activated. No warning, no nothing. And that was just the $10 extra that you spent on the game just immediately used without even realizing.
See,
And
I'm sad that they've gotten so like gaming companies as a whole, like they already make so much money, but they've gotten way more aggressive at picking and nickeling and diming all their their base. Like let's look at battle passes for game like fighter arenas like Soul Calibur,
mhm.
Tekken, any of those, right? So like back in the day, I'll use Super Smash Brothers Melee, right? You had to be good at the game and just played a lot, and you unlocked all the characters. That was how it was. It wasn't like you played and they're like, "Ah, crap." I can't go any further until I buy this pass, but I'm going to see that character in the game anyways. And if I want to be able to enjoy him, I have to go and buy him. And so it's just one extra way that people, and I think that a lot of people feel like that's really scummy. And those games that don't do that, that put out a lot of good content just for the price, like Baldur's Gate 3 made a lot of people mad because it was a good game. And there was an insane amount of content all with that. And that was the game. I mean, on top of like that, it came out pretty dang complete. There weren't a lot of super bugs. There's just the state is gone kind of downhill because I don't know. I have my theories on why that happened, but I don't want to detour any conversations too crazy. You know me and my conspiracy theories.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be mostly because of corporate decisions, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's
corporate versus
companies that are
consumers.
owned by corporates that have a finance department or some sort of marketing department that say, this is what we need to do to get money into the company. Those corporates are the things that are influencing why games are being developed that way.
Yep.
Because you see League of Legends come around, they do battle passes successfully, and they do it in a way that's not as
You
toxic
see League of
or
Legends come around, they
exhausting
do battle passes
in a
success.
sense. And other people want to do the same, and they try to follow suit, but they don't actually care for the game. Like the certain departments within that corporation don't care for the game, so they're just saying this is what we need to do to make money, and suddenly these developers they have to develop these things that really do not adhere to the gamer as a consumer.
Yeah, it's true. It's really
And
sad.
it discourages the developers too, which I feel bad for them.
So let me ask you something like this: do you think certain other games should have a battle pass, and if so, what would you want them to service? So let's say Pokemon. If Pokemon had a battle pass, how would you feel about it?
I think if well, which Pokemon? Because Pokemon Go essentially does have
It has a
battle
battle
passes.
pass now.
Well, you have to think about it because they've always had battle passes, quote unquote. Like any of the research that's going on for the time, you have a set number of days. You can buy it. The only way you can get that content and/or certain Pokemon and certain encounters is if you buy certain things, and then if you don't, you're just kind of in the world itself. So they have a sort of thing that's just not called a battle pass. It's just their research. Whereas if you have like the games, I think that if they did battle passes with the games in Pokemon, that it would actually tank the company, at least in that part of it. Because if you had to play through Soul Silver and then you had to pay money to be able to go and catch Lugia,
That would be the worst.
oh, it would destroy it because why? Like it's completely unnecessary. It's very greedy and very dishonest. Like if you're gonna make a game, make it good, and have the
Done.
players get good at it and reward them for being good at the game. Don't reward
Another
them for
aspect
things.
Another aspect of that is the fact that Soul Silver is a game you have to pay for in the first place. You have to pay for the game to play it, so you should have the full content of the game.
Mm,
And the reason why it works for like League of Legends is because you don't pay for the game. You can just play the game.
yeah.
That's why it was so bad with Diablo 4 because you had to pay for Diablo 4. Suddenly there's a battle pass for Diablo 4. Overwatch would be okay with a battle pass. It was okay initially, and they started having it so that to play the new heroes, you had to go through the battle pass or buy the battle pass. That
Yeah.
kind of really turned me away from Overwatch.
I think it turned a lot of people away because that's whenever I decided, yeah, Overwatch is not for me anymore. And so I mean, I loved Overwatch. I still think Overwatch is cool, but like
It's a fun game. I just
I paid for the game and then I put a lot of hours into it just to be like, "Oh, by the way, you're going to have to pay a lot more money and you're going to sink a lot more into the game just to be able to be equal with other people." And I'm like, "Okay, so now it's pay to win."
yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah, that was wasn't that what happened with Star Wars Battlefront 2? where they got sued so much that they had to do a whole bunch of things because it became pay to win. Like battle passes are a different form of the same kind of power creep that they put behind paywalls.
Mm-hmm.
Little side tangent. Speaking of that, I was watching another funny video the other day about them re-releasing Battlefront 1 and 2, and they're releasing another Star Wars game by the same company who screwed up Battlefront 1 and 2. Star Wars, I think it's called Hunters. It's where you're playing as Boba Fett.
Oh yeah. I think that
Is that like that old like PlayStation
Yes.
yeah, it's
Star Wars
old.
game? I think I remember playing that.
It's
Kind of miss
cool,
that game.
it's kind of lame at the same time because Star Wars is dead to me. So if they want to keep releasing Star Wars things, then let them.
Well,
If they want, they just need to so thoroughly drain and sink the franchise that it'll be available for me to purchase, and then I'll make it right. I'll decanonize all the stupid things that they've done, and
and redo the Legends universe because that's what they did. They took all that was pre-written with Mara Jade and Jason and Jaina Solo, and they just said retconned it all, and they just said, okay, we still own copyrights to all this, so we're just gonna call it Star Wars Legends, and then they did their own thing,
yeah,
and it
and then
just
they
was
betrayed
not
everybody.
accepted.
They betrayed every single one of the characters. Like Han Solo was a hero. Yeah, he started out as as that kind of roguish kind of guy, but throughout all of the episodes, he literally became a hero and like a guy that was responsible. Are you telling me that this guy that helped kill the Death Star, that was like really good friends with Luke Skywalker, the guy who said no, I can't kill Vader, there's still good in him, mind you? Do you think that guy, if he got Leia pregnant, would just ditch? And just be like, nah, I don't want to pay child support. I'm gonna go and hang out with a Wookiee. Like that is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. The second that I saw that, I was like, okay, they're going to destroy everyone's character. And sure enough, they did. So if any
Yep.
Star Wars games tank, let them tank. I will buy them out so fast whenever I get the chance.
Yeah, the new writers for Star Wars do not respect, or the writers for episodes 7 through 9 do not respect the Star Wars universe.
No.
Mm-mm.
I know Mandalorian was pretty good, and that did pretty well. I think Rogue One was pretty good, but I think that was based off of one of the books that just, fits into the story
Was
or
Solo
narrative they've
good?
already told.
Solo was decent, but like there's good story and there's interesting movies. So you have to kind of like pull those apart because there's some movies that are absolutely stupid, but they're entertaining, so I watch them. There's that, and then there's movies that I'm like, holy crap, this was an amazing movie for a lot of reasons. Solo was kind of neat because it was like, oh, this is Han Solo's beginnings, but again, it shows a character that is this guy that goes from, he has these tendencies, but he always chooses the right thing, and that is not what he ends up, at least in their eyes. And so like he's supposed to be this light side warrior that does the right thing, and he it just, yeah, it was cool because they pulled in other things because they're like, oh, let's see if we can get people onto the train that's already, or the ship that's already sinking, so we're going to tease or add in things that we know they like. So Solo, let's like, what can we make people really like them? Darth Maul. Wow. And it's like, okay. Like, okay.
So, how do you guys feel about not podcasts? How do you feel about battle passes in non-video game formats?
What?
Can you give an example?
Yeah.
So, I have like two very bad examples. One is your Prime membership gives you many things.
So that's tiered subscriptions, is what you're talking about.
No, not that. Your Amazon Prime subscription gives you so many things outside of just the Amazon purchasing website. You get their shows, you get their music, you get Twitch things, you get games, stuff like that. Like, I consider it kind of a battle pass because every month I pay for it, and every month, guess what? I get a bunch of free stuff for it, including permanent free games.
Well, that's not so much a battle pass. That's just a subscription.
Most subscriptions don't
Yeah.
even
Because
do as much
a
as that
battle
does.
pass, if it were like a battle pass, it would be like, okay, you pay for Amazon Prime in order to unlock one season of some random show on Amazon Prime. You have to watch so many hours already. That's kind of in line as to what a battle pass does.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And that just, if they were to implement that into Amazon Video, Prime Video, that would just be so goofy and confuse people and get so much backlash.
It
I-
would
It
take
just
it.
doesn't
They
make
could, they could
sense.
get sued for it for there's certain practices that like whenever a company does something that's literally overly greedy and like definitely like is manipulating systems, they do have grounds to sue on it. I don't know what those are, but I do know that they exist. I wish I knew what they were. That'd be nice to know.
It probably wouldn't be the customer, the consumer that would be able to sue. It'd probably be something like Star Wars. You have to watch Star Wars episodes 7, 8, and 9 on Amazon Prime before unlocking to be able to watch episodes 1, 2, and 3. Maybe people who profit from 1, 2, and 3, but not 7, 8, and 9 would be able to sue on that premise because they don't make it available like the other one,
Right.
even though they're probably bundled under the same licensing at this point. But that's going to be some sort of copyright licensing rules and laws.
Could you imagine if
What-
you had to do a battle pass just to watch a movie? You have to watch the previous movie to watch the next
People would
movie.
watch. People
That
would
would
watch
drive
it.
me insane.
Think about it. We have Redbox. We have everything instantly at our fingertips. The whole culture is based on instant gratification.
Good lord, Redbox.
Mhm.
That's a term I haven't heard in a while.
It still exists,
It does. It does.
but I'm just saying, like, there's things that like people want to do something, they can just go and grab it. And so, and plus, a lot of companies are even if they have a battle pass, like let's say battle passes, or they were like Amazon was like, hey, you have to watch a certain number of hours. They would automatically have another thing that's like, okay, just kidding. If you don't really want to watch all those things, what we can do for you is actually we'll just like have you pay like $10 or $20 more, and you can just skip all that and have it all for free anyways. And then some other company, because capitalism does work with this, will come along and be like, you know what? We have the right to sell the same things that Hulu does. And instead of charging you all that stuff and make you go through those barriers to get it, we're just going to offer it for free and we're going to do it cheaper. And so then everybody leaves Hulu to go to that other place, then Hulu goes out of business. The glory of capitalism and competition.
Currently, speaking of streaming services, I just want to throw my hat out on the ring right there and say number one currently in my eyes is probably Max because it has most of the best shows you can watch and it gets newer shows faster than most other places. I want to say after that, second is negotiable to any one of them because I don't like any rest of them. I don't use Disney Plus like ever unless I want to watch something very obscure in my childhood. Look at that, use Sandlot. Netflix doesn't have most of the shows that I used to watch anymore. They got some of the new ones, but they don't have the old ones. Hulu lags for some reason, and Amazon Prime is only used for new shows, not old shows. Opinions?
I never use Amazon for that. I appreciate that Amazon has tried to do their own little, hey, we do movies, but Amazon is where I go if I want to get a product and have it sent to me, and that's
It's the only
where I
place.
keep them.
It's the only place I can watch
Well,
the boys. So I'm like, boys.
With Amazon, I think their most profitable product is actually AWS currently.
Wait,
Really?
say again.
Yeah, it's probably AWS because you have so many companies, corporations, and websites and everything being hosted on AWS, and that's just the more people that are on it, the more they get out of it.
Yeah, they're
Like I don't think they make
a
much money
monopoly.
on deliveries anymore, which is probably why they've been able to keep things kind of cheap and able to deliver the way they have. And they were able to pivot towards the AWS service and all of the services they offer.
Yeah, that's true. Amazon's Amazon. Oh, Amazon. Amazon's crazy. But yeah, that's kind of the thing with the battle passes. So I think battle passes aren't necessarily bad, but yeah, there's just questions you got to ask whenever you see that one's going to be implemented, and then you have to look at how that particular battle pass is being implemented.
I still think the best one is leagues by far. No contest.
I
Trying
mean,
to
for
think if
something you
there
have to
was
pay
any.
for, yeah. But I think
Was League the
that
first battle pass?
StarCraft's is good. I think that Deep Rock Galactics is excellent. Any group that does things that are seasonal rewards. Sea of Thieves, I think, has really good stuff with that too. Sea of Thieves does really well with that, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, apparently, the battle pass model originally started with Dota 2. It looks like
It
in 2013.
makes sense because remember, also TFT started with Dota 2.
Well, yeah, Dota 2 still has a lot of free reign for creativity.
Wait, what? Okay. So does I have a question for you? Does the monthly, if you buy a monthly pass where you get something every day for an entire month, does that count as a battle pass in some way?
A battle pass is something you have to if you have to buy it and then you have to play and do things to get up to a certain point in that pass in order to win its rewards. That's battle pass's premises. So if you buy something that you just get something every day, that is a subscription. That's like if I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay X amount of money to get an NFL magazine. I'm going to get that NFL magazine every single week for X amount of weeks.
Yeah, I don't think there was a term coined for uh a sub. I guess a pass that you purchase that gives you log-on rewards. But I don't think there was ever a term for that.
I think there was.
But it's log-on rewards, which is not quite a battle pass. It's almost a battle pass, but not quite. Like that as a concept doesn't really exhaust me any one bit because if I wanted it, I could purchase it and it wouldn't take me much time to just log on and get those rewards.
Yep.
So that's
Agreed.
I'd probably prefer that to battle passes.
Yeah.
Just need to coin a term for it and get people to hop on that. I don't have to play every
Yeah.
single game just to get every single thing.
So
Again, and like I don't really. I'm very much I they don't need to do it, and I understand why they do it. I think that battle passes are much more viable for free to play games
Yes, they
like
are.
League of Legends, like Dauntless, those things. But games that you've already bought and paid for, then it becomes like aggressive and greedy microtransactions. That's what it is.
And then whenever you tap into pay to win, there's a degree of that influences uh, whether a battle pass is good or not. If it's pay to win, that kind of devalues the worth of the game overall. Because when you can just say this guy's you just pay to win, then no matter what kind of effort you put in the game, it just feels like whoever has the bigger wallet,
Hmm. Yeah, I
which
can see
was
that.
Diablo Immortal,
so
like entirely Diablo Immortal.
something I
If
want
you
to
didn't
bring
spend ten
up.
thousand dollars, you can't touch PvP.
Something I wanted to bring up since you guys brought up free games versus pay games. How do you feel about games that you paid for becoming free? And do you think that the players who paid for the game originally should get some compensation because they paid for the game and now it's free for everyone?
What
No,
example do you have?
I got a bunch of them: Destiny, StarCraft 2, game I hate really much. Hold on,
Is StarCraft 2 free?
StarCraft 2 is now it's been officially free for years now.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's fun. I need to go download that.
Overwatch became free.
Well,
Um,
Overwatch 2 still free? Or I thought Overwatch 2 you had to pay.
Overwatch 2 is free.
Hmm.
Yeah, Overwatch 2 is free.
Maybe Overwatch 1 was the one I had to pay for. I paid
Overwatch
for
Yeah, you had to
1
pay
you
for
had to pay
Overwatch
for.
1.
And
Damn,
then
okay,
what
I
ended up
didn't realize. I don't really have a problem with it. I think that whenever StarCraft came out, I loved StarCraft and I played a lot of it. And they made a game that was very good. And they're like, hey, this is a game you can go play on your computer. Here's the disc of it. That's going to be $15, please. And I said, sweet, I'll do it. And how old is StarCraft? Let's see.
If we're talking about StarCraft 2, it's 2010. If we're talking about the original StarCraft, it's 96.
Perfect. So like after a lot of that, after coming out after so long ago, that to me seems like it's goodwill because like like they've made a lot of money on it. Whenever it came out, it was still pay to play. And then whenever they have like the other ones too, like there's not going to really be a StarCraft 4 that I know of. Maybe there will be, but like other things than StarCraft 3 you have to pay for. And so
StarCraft
it's
2.
like, okay.
Sorry. There's no StarCraft 3.
Oh, that's out of meaning.
So I know Final Fantasy 14 kind of does something similar. Not quite
Where
exactly the same.
the free trial for Final Fantasy 14 is the most brilliant free trial. It's an actual free trial. You get to play through the entirety of the first campaign along with having a level 60 character. That is really good because it actually gives you the ability to play the entirety of the game and figure out if you like the game or not just a small bit of it.
Which is good.
And then when they release expansions, sure, to get that expansion you have to pay like 60, $70 to get it on release, but then the previous expansion goes into a bundle with the rest of the expansions.
Legacy
and
bundles. Destiny does the same
essentially
thing.
becomes not free, but it becomes legacy bundle.
Now here's the only problem I have with Final Fantasy 14 is the fact that afterwards you have to pay. When you pay for the game, you have to pay for their subscription too, just like with Warcraft. So it's kind of
Well, the subscription makes sense.
to have to
On that
play the
model.
game. I never really liked that idea of paying. You have to pay $60 and an extra $15 every month afterwards just to play the
Like
game.
World of Warcraft though, like
Yeah.
I understand why they can do that though, because like look at World of Warcraft. So like, hey, this is a big thing right here. This is what you need to pay in order to have it. So once you buy it, you buy it. But in order to play like the game consistently, you still need to subscribe. But they're always upgrading that. And the amount of things that they come out for those kind of games, the amount of story, the amount of effort, the amount of things that they offer
Mhm.
is tremendous. Right?
And keep in mind, they are some of the first live service games, or basically the most successful live service games. And they were successful because they put this monetization model to where they can actually support the servers, which the servers, I assume, are getting better and less costly. So maybe later down the line, they don't need to, but they still want to keep live service. But Final Fantasy does not do battle passes. It just does expansion release, and then they gotta keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to pay, basically maintenance fee, I'd like to call it.
Yeah,
You
which I'm
gotta
fine with. Like,
maintain servers, gotta maintain the crew that maintains the servers, gotta maintain the people that keep continuing stories or changing the world as you play through the game. So it makes sense to have essentially a maintenance fee.
So so two opinions. One, when it comes to the whole I bought the game, now it's free for everyone. I personally never liked it, only because of the fact that they never gave really compensation for the game becoming free, or at least the compensation they did give wasn't that good. So in terms of Overwatch,
what kind of compensation are you wanting?
so let me give you an example for Overwatch. When Overwatch 1 went to 2, if you had an account beforehand, you got every single character for free. People who had new accounts had to play the game a lot in order to unlock all the characters. We already had the characters beforehand, so
I would have loved something for my years of playing the game and my effort in playing for the game. Like maybe
So
a
in this
skin
case,
or something else, not just, hey, you have your characters ready to go.
so in that case specifically, because it is a live service matchmaking game, it does make sense that you would want compensation because you get rewards in the game and your skins show different things. Like I could go in the game and play the police skin diva to show that I played through that really trash MOBA game that Battle.net had.
Oh my god.
I went through and I played that for that skin, and I can show I have that skin. That was my reward for having that skin. And whenever you, I think most games do have a small reward for the people who had things previously and then they make it free, but it's usually not something really that makes it feel worth it.
So Destiny was the very first time that I ever had to deal with that because I forget
love
which expansion it was. I think it was Forsaken, but I paid $60 for the game when it came out, Destiny 2. And then eventually Forsaken came out. Forsaken not only completely changed the game and how I played, 100% revamped everything, including classes and how you do things, how you get stuff. It also made the game free. And the problem with that is at the time before Forsaken came out, Forsaken was $60. To buy the game still, you had to pay, I think it was $40. And you either had to wait for Forsaken to come out and then buy Forsaken, which is essentially just buying the game, or you had to buy the game and then wait for Forsaken to come out, but you still had to buy Forsaken anyway. And I don't remember if you got really anything for that game becoming free.
Mm. So I can see why some of them. Let me try to phrase this out. So with Destiny, because I paid for Destiny as well. The newcomers that are coming in, like again, like so compensation, right? So if they're gonna choose to change their whole model, then we as gamers kind of have to choose to change with them. And if that model that they choose doesn't succeed, then their game sinks, right? So like if I'm playing Destiny and I bought it and stuff like that, then the best way for them to compensate me is like Chris Vaughn was saying, like you have your skins, maybe you get a certain weapon or an item that only legacy players get, those kinds of things that single you out. But like as far as like compensation outside of that, it's very hard to do because okay, sweet, we had 100,000 people spend $60, so now we're going to give out, but switching for inflation or whatever it is too, we're going to give out that much money to them. It would be an absolute nightmare, and that isn't how businesses work. Can you imagine if we all went to a bakery during the day and they're like, okay, this cinnamon roll costs $5, and then if they have extra cinnamon rolls left over during whenever they're closing, they give them out for free. Do they have to automatically give out money to the people they sold cinnamon rolls to the first? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That wouldn't
essentially
make
you're
sense.
paying for it. You're paying for it to be hot and fresh.
Yeah, like there are things you pay for, and I think that it's fair. If they were to like say, okay, I have to pay for Destiny, then 1 year later, no one else has to pay for it. That's different. But Destiny's been out for how many years? Like StarCraft now,
Destiny.
how many years?
So Destiny 2, hold on. Let me do some gauging real quick because there's a big difference between the StarCraft and Destiny 2. Uh so Destiny came out, I want to say it was on the it was in 2014. So it was not as old.
Okay,
And Destiny
how big
2 came
player
out.
base?
Destiny's player base was gigantic. Cuz
Well, I know it was. I played it.
uh Destiny 2 came out 3 years later. Now,
Yep.
let me see, when did Forsaken come? Because I think Forsaken came out literally the same year Destiny 2 came out. or at
I
least
think
a
it
year
was a
later.
little bit later.
Forsaken came out. Where is that?
September 4th, 2018.
So it came out a year later. So that means it was not even a year before the game came free.
Was it Destiny 2 became free?
Destiny 2 became free. Destiny 1 is not on PC and it's not free, but you can still play it.
I don't know. I don't have the analytics as to why they would do that though, because I know that whenever they make a game free, they're trying to increase their gamer base. Because Destiny really hit, but then there's a lot of drama that was going over, the stuff with Halo and Bungie and all that jazz. And like Destiny was cool, and then they started to introduce some things that weren't as cool. They were like, okay, we got to hype up the community. Destiny 2 is coming out. We're going to do a lot of things. It's very possible that one of the reasons that it went free was not to be like, aha, screw everybody else before, but because they weren't doing as good as they used to, and they were trying to get other people in because there was ways that they could make money if people got into the game. And one of the ways they can attract them is by saying, hey, this is free. By the way, the things that we're going to be offering within the game are not. Like, do you think League of Legends would be as big as it was if you had to pay $50 to install it first?
Well, you used to
Probably
be able
not.
to actually
Nope,
buy.
definitely not.
You used to be able to buy shit from GameStop for Destiny, not for Destiny, for League of Legends. I don't know if
I
you
know,
guys
but like
weren't.
the thing is League of Legends has always been a free download. It is always forever. It has always been something like, hey, you don't have to pay any money to play this game, and it is one of the most widely played games in history. It has like 150 million different players. That is insane. That is absolutely
Yeah,
insane. But like,
it's
it wouldn't be that
available
big.
to everybody,
Yeah.
and you have the developers of it. They play the game,
Mhm.
and they want to develop the game to be something that they want to play. That's one of the things I watched when they were first coming up. One of the lead developers said, "Okay, now that you guys finished this thing, is like, have you guys played it?" And when they said no, it's like, oh, well, we need to play the game. If you don't play the game, if you don't want to play the game, then we'd make it so that you want to play the game because that's in our hands to actually do that. So they actually went through and experienced what players experienced, not just what the devs experience, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
That's one
So
of the things that I like about them.
they made it free and they put the work in way early on. I don't know if there's still people. I don't know how many of the original crew from the developers are still around in that. I imagine a lot of them,
Well, I know that like
but
it's like you quit league because it's like a bad drug, and then like you take a year off even more, and then somehow you always end up back into it, and you're like, crap, this is literally like heroin.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
not
also
literally.
it's also gamers that created what they wanted to create.
Yeah, very true. We get exactly what we asked for, sadly.
Yep.
So, how do you guys feel about video game memorial services?
What do you mean memorial services?
Like someone famous for the game dies, or some voice actor for the game dies, the in-game people have a gigantic service for them.
I think that's just beautiful.
That's sweet.
Why wouldn't you ever do that?
I know they did one for the character Cade in Destiny 2, but they also did one for the for the original voice actor for Zavala, who was the concierge to the New York Continental in John Wick when he died.
I think that
And
those things are really pretty
they
because like
are beautiful.
Yeah, because it gives uh, good remembrance to people who work on the game that created the game. The game wouldn't be that without some of these people. They should
Mhm.
have their names put on the game and
Plus
remembered.
like what better way to co-create a game? Like I'll use Sea of Thieves as an example. There's so one of the players that played Sea of Thieves religiously kept a little diary as they would run around and play. and then they ended up passing away. And so what the devs did is they took excerpts from that diary and scattered them all throughout the different islands of Sea of Thieves and their achievements to go and find and read. Like, what a better way, and because this person, like, was just they just loved this game. Like, they played it religiously, and they were known in the community, and so that's a beautiful thing, and if it let's say it's an
That's pretty
NPC,
awesome.
I know, right? Isn't that so beautifully? It's like, "Oh, okay." It makes you a lot more into the whole experience because games are experiences,
Yeah.
and
They're
so
entire worlds that people build from their imagination.
yeah, 100%, they become real. And so but, like, if there's, like, let's say an NPC, right? Well, let's say, like, you're in a live service game, right? So let's say in League of Legends, they're like, "Okay, we're gonna permanently kill off Morgana," right? No one can play her ever again. If they were to have a little funeral service for her like that, like, thank you for at least doing that, like, yeah, that's so nice. But what about like a story game where, like, you become attached to those characters too? So I think that
Not my
anytime
Morgana.
I know, right? Like Morgana. But like anytime you have a loss of an individual, whether it be real or not, it's always not only just good practice, but it's appropriate to always give proper time to say
Hmm.
and let people say their goodbyes and
I
to kind of
respect.
close the door. Yeah. There's my
Though it's
TED talk.
funny you said that. It made me think of when they killed off Gangplank for a little while.
Yep, that's
He just
exactly what I was
wasn't
thinking of.
available to play for like a whole patch.
I know I hated that. Well, actually, I didn't hate that because I didn't have to play against him. So that wasn't too bad. But
Then I
yeah, say
started playing
yeah,
once he got
exact same
released.
thing. But yeah, that's actually a really good
Right.
yeah, it's a really good what's the through
So
line
I I say we move to our next topic,
there. All right.
which was live games versus remaking games. So the whole premise is that someone made a joke and a diss to EA because they own every sports game alive. And someone made the joke is like, dude, why don't you just make a ever evolving live football game and just you could have real time games happen. So, like for instance, during the football season, you could have if you're doing Redskins versus Cowboys, you could literally have the game pop up, and you could make a battle pass for them. So if they're paying for the battle pass, they can play those games, and they can dictate their own movements and everything. And someone would be like, "Oh yeah, you
What
could
do you do
play."
with the rosters that change every single season?
It would change with the game. It would the
Well, there's
game.
not only that, player stats change too.
Yes.
Because players that are good one season don't, and so the amount of work that would go into that, I think, would almost be astronomical. It'd be like you're remaking a game
Well,
always.
don't they already have some sort of system in place for the whole say for instance what NFL fantasy? Doesn't
So
that already put that into account?
for what I've known about the whole Madden scene is that apparently a lot of the stats for the football players are very bad. Like some of them are either really weak compared to what they should be or really really broken. So you can make a fantasy team that is just beyond reason.
Well, if you that's part of it though. Like if your favorite team is, the Titans, but they're not doing too well and you can never win with them, why would you ever play the Titans in that game?
Because it'd be your favorite team.
Yeah, it would be, but you
It's
never
kind
win.
of it,
Right?
it would push off a lot of players to play that team for sure, but you still get people that will play it. Kind of like how I played Vayne. It's like I see a nerf. Oh wait, she's nerfed. I could go try her out and see how she'll work, and it makes me want to play
Because you're
more
good
of
though.
that. So
Player skill can overcome the nerf.
yeah, but that's also probably the very specific player base that would play that champion or that team.
Yeah. But like with sports games, like let's use FIFA, right?
The most famous one.
So, well, yeah. because outside of America, FIFA is big. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You have 11 players, right? And so you have to constantly be rebalancing every single one of those players and how they interact with each other constantly with every single one of the teams, which would be, I think, a more monumental task than it would be balancing League of Legends characters. Even though you have a lot of League of Legends characters, there's a lot of players on the rosters just for the FIFA worlds, right? There's a lot of players because it isn't just the 11 that are on the field. There's more people that are on that team. And then how many teams are there? And so, like, it would just be crazy.
So I don't think it would be that far-fetched in this day and age of technology, because
Today, probably not.
for sports, you play a game and those stats get recorded somewhere.
That's true.
Literally somewhere. We just have to figure out where that's going and then maybe centralize it to a specific place that is available through an API, and then suddenly you can just implement that into your game. And I'm sure EA would have the money to expend to get that structure set up. It's just they probably have to spend that money to do it, and they, would rather just keep releasing games, keep doing the same formula, that keeps making the same money. They're not really
Yeah, why change if it's
innovating.
making you money?
They're not innovating. They're just printing money for themselves.
Because
I mean,
they
I
brought
like
it.
printing money as much as the next guy, but probably not a smart thing to do.
I honestly think if they were to stop making games every year and then take one for each of the genres they've made, or one for each of the sports they've made, and then just make them live games and just continuously update them, I think it would be better. But EA's
You'd
not going
lose
to
a lot
do
of
it.
your base, though,
They
because
would,
living in
but
South America, like that, you have to look like. So even though that'd be cooler, who are the people that would benefit from that? North America, Europe, and more well-off places in other areas of the world, right? But a lot of FIFA is South America. South America runs that like crazy, and they're having lived there. A lot of those people do not have access to be able to have live server updates on a home computer. Where they play FIFA is they go to game place. They're called Cibers, and they go and the Cibers will go and buy that game. And so that's like they buy it a lot. They have a whole bunch of different copies, and that's where they get a lot of their base. And so to do that would knock off whole swaths of people just because, oh, you don't have access to it right now, because FIFA doesn't necessarily require internet access to play if you have it, right? And if you want to play against another human, sure. But a lot of times people just want to play against the computer. It's just something to think about, you know?
So I think one thing they could do is they can make it so that every quarter the stats would update and everything would update, but they have the old stats archived so you can go back to a certain season and they could play with those stats for that specific season and that specific setting. Like if they
That
want
would
to
be
play
cool.
2024 spring, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be legit, actually.
And then that would be able to keep up with the live service if they wanted to play current season
Mm.
and be able to do kind of the really cool nuanced things that might get players even more hyped, like being able to play on a rainy stage as the stage is rainy,
Ooh, that would be cool.
as the team is playing.
so let's reverse it. How do you feel about live games going to offline mode, having offline versions?
I love
They should have offline versions.
it.
There
Unless
is
it's like an
online,
MMO, it needs offline versions. There's no sense.
there
I
is
got
a
so mad
game.
at Diablo for that.
There is
because
a
then
game.
you don't own anything. You give them money to not own a game. If my game only works because I'm connected to the internet, then why be a gamer? The whole premise of being a gamer is because I could go and sit down in my living room with my PlayStation and I could play Final Fantasy without needing to be connected to the internet.
There is a game on Steam. It is based on a gacha game on the phone. You have to pay for the game on Steam, but it's the offline version of the game. And I've always wanted to get it because of the fact that I wonder how would you make an offline version of a live game
And a
What's it
live
called?
gotcha game I got. It's called Mega Man X Dive.
Hmm.
It's like I said, it was a gotcha game.
Well, it says offline itself, so it's not like it's not like you're missing out. Like it's just the offline version of it.
Yes, but how would you make an offline version of a gotcha game? Is everything
Because a lot of
unlocked
gotcha games-
or?
Well,
Go
a
ahead.
lot of gotcha games, so have you heard of Dragalia Lost?
No.
That was a gotcha game that was only mobile, and it like you one of the ways that you were able to get certain like further on is that you would fight bosses. You could fight them solo, or you could fight them with other players. That was its online capability. The only other reason it was online was because you weren't. It wasn't because you were playing with other players. It was because they were needing to update servers and try to get you to the whole gotcha mentality. So it could work functionally without ever being online. There was just certain functions that were very few and far in between that were. So I think that Mega Man X, when I'm looking at it right now, that would probably work very similar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that looks like it would actually be very similar because Mega Man is a story game. And then, yeah, this would work very similar. Sorry, I'm eating cookies.
I don't think I really have much comparison for that kind of thing for online service games going offline, but I think they should be available offline, especially if they're story based.
Like honestly, there are two games I wish they were offline, so you could test out more things. One is TFT. I wish TFT had a practice mode or an offline mode where I could practice different comps and strategies without having to go into a game to play such things. I want to see how well it can actually perform versus how well it does just in a game, because I want to see if it actually, like, you can look at it on any kind of website. You can just make it from scratch. You will not know how good it does until you're in a game. But I wish you could see it in a practice tool like you do with League.
No, I think that's a good idea. I think that'd be a great feature, and you should definitely tell Riot to freaking implement that because that actually seems pretty legit.
Man, if Riot ever listen to me, let me tell you something. If Riot ever listened to me about anything, they would just give me that King Ramaskin so I could sell my account and not play League ever again.
Unfortunately, you have to authenticate an account, and that would make doing an offline kind of thing difficult.
Yeah, I could see that too.
But in the case of that, where you're just trying to do a practice thing, they could have some sort of. They could implement something about that. It'd be a different launcher, though.
I think they should have just made TFT its own launcher from the beginning, from the get go, because there are so many TFT things that are like.
I mean, on the phone, it is its own launcher.
Yeah,
I'm saying if you were to implement some like offline aspect, it would have to be a separate launcher or a separate download from TFT itself, not even considering League in the question.
do you remember? I don't know if you were playing TFT back then, but do you remember when they released Double Ups for the first time? They actually released a zero fight mode where you could just go in and play a comp.
No.
And I really wish they would bring that back. When they released Double Ups, they had a zero mode where you could just play by yourself, and then release. You could practice a game. You could practice comps and stuff.
I don't remember that at all. I do remember Double Ups being released, but I don't remember that at all. Was it after Double Ups was released? Because I remember Double Ups, it was like in it went by a ranking system, kind of like how Hyperroll does, where it just kind of gives you the tiers. The wood tier, then the bronze tier, then silver tier.
Mm.
And then they,
I don't do much with TFT right now, even though
because
I
it
have
was
it on
Double Ups Workshop.
It didn't
It was
have
kind of
ranks like
when they were
gold and silver.
testing.
It would just have those tiers. Just
Yeah.
And after 2 seasons of Double Ups, that's when they introduced the ranking system.
Yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember what you're talking about. So, in that aspect, what about games that are online games that you had paid for, but they have to shut down servers, so suddenly you can't play them anyways? They have to have some sort of offline mode, especially if you pay for it.
Um, that's actually been something that's happened. Have you guys heard of Second Extinction?
Yes.
I have not.
So I played that game. It was really fun. It's dinosaur. It's Turok meets Halo. Um, but it's they didn't do good enough, and so the company had to scrap everything, and so they're taking all servers on offline. And so the way they've built the game, the maps that you jump into are on their server and not something that is downloaded onto the game. And so once their servers are offline, then you can't really get in. And it's always just been a travesty. It's always been really sad. I wish that that the companies would do that, but at the same time, uh, I say at the same time, if you buy a game, you should be able to have a disc, kind of thing. And like, yes, I bought this game; it's mine, and I can now play it because I liked their thing. Whether or not they did well is none of my business because I have the game I liked. And I think that's one of the risks you take whenever everything's going digital and you're playing computer games because they don't have to offer you those kind of things at all. I hate it. I don't think it's right, but it's reality of it. I think that's one of the benefits of console gaming is whenever you're on a console, you have the game. No one, unless someone breaks into your house and takes it from you, you have the game and it'll play, you know. But on
Well,
computer, like where I forget which group said it. They're like, "You'll own nothing and you'll be happy." Very very scummy things to say, but they're specifically talking about gamers and people that are trying to buy DVDs, and that's been an actual conversation people have had. So it's actually really good you bring that up because it's really the other one was Dragalia Lost actually. So their servers went off, and now whenever I keep the app on my phone because I loved that game, and whenever I
hmm.
click on it, it's just like, "Hey guys, thank you so much for playing. Um, we'll always remember you. You know, we're glad you enjoyed Dragalia Lost while it was there." And that's the only message that they have whenever the app pops up now. And so
And
it's really
it's
sad
not
because,
really.
huh?
I was just gonna say it's not really a fact where you would need a physical copy of a game. It's just if you have a game and you're able to run it, and they decided the company that made it don't want to support it anymore, there needs to be tools put in place so that players can keep playing the game.
Oh, so that it just doesn't die outright. I agree with you. There really does because it's so sad whenever a game dies.
Like imagine if Overwatch just server shut down. Suddenly the people that have it for disc for like PlayStation or Xbox, they can put the disc in, but it says nothing to connect to. But they should have tools available so that if players really want to play with other people, they should be able to at least host some servers, host some matches themselves.
Similar to like maybe what the old Star Wars Battlefront 2 ones do.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Oh, that's not a bad idea at all. Again, you need to tell the gaming companies this. They'll listen to you.
You'll run into ping issues or whatever, but when it comes to just enjoying a game at that point, I don't think players are going to care about ping. They just want to be able to play it.
hmm Yeah, I agree.
The company doesn't have to sit there and support it like they did their own servers. Kind of like how a
Sorry.
software goes out of support or warranty, and that company no longer has to do anything with it, but they can still use that software to their own discretion. It'd be the same thing with gamers.
Yeah.
It's just they can't use it if the servers are down. That's one really big negative to live action games. Unfortunately, with MMOs, for instance, those are live action games that you actually cannot own. In
Yeah,
fact, I think in
MMOs
the
are hard.
EULA, it tells you that you can use these characters, but you do not own these characters. Which is pretty disheartening to think, but I still want to go into an MMO and experience the world with all these other people. But that's kind of the price you pay to experience a world shared with other people.
Yeah, I agree with that
So
Because
because
the shared
it's a
experience is
shared
better than a
world.
solo experience. But then when
Mhm.
you have matchmaking experience, that's also a little different. You should be able to uh, set up matchmaking with friends whenever it's actually a manageable, fewer numbered people group that you can
Mhm.
actually get 4 people together to play Halo, but you can just host the servers between each other. Or host the service, I shouldn't say a server.
I understood.
So, how do you feel about games that are free becoming paid for? Example being Flash games that became so popular, someone bought the rights to them and then told the dude, "Hey, can you make this game? Can you make more of this game, and then we'll make people pay for it?" Like Balloon Tower Defense, for instance. It used to be all free, then it wasn't.
I think that that's just good marketing. It sucks, but I think it's good. It's an opportunity. Um, because like flash games from Newgrounds that some kid made when they were 12 and they had really good ideas. It sucks, but if it takes off, someone could be like, "Hey, I want the right for that." The person that sold it to him is getting compensated for it, and then it's no longer in their hands. So the person's like, "Okay, I want to make a business out of this." Then they do it, and then the person that made it can still do it because they may have given away one of their golden eggs, but they're still the golden goose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when it comes to Flash games, because of just the nature of how those worked, somebody buying the rights or somebody picking up the rights or somebody migrating to a different platform and actually putting some monetization to it, I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed about it either.
Now, if
I,
it were
I
to be something like, uh, what's it? If like League suddenly had to pay for like down the line, like it was $20 if you wanted to own the game, quote unquote, own the game, I would be upset about that.
Yeah, that would be rough. That would be an instance in which I'd be like, "Yo, whoa, what's going on?"
I think everybody would be upset about that. It's like, why are you suddenly charging me for this game that I played
Mhm.
for 10 years?
Man, that's
so
crazy.
which okay. So, what's a Flash game that you guys have played that became something that you can now buy?
Are you able to buy Hot Wheels?
Yes, you've all. There's a bunch of Hot Wheel games. Wait, what?
I haven't ever checked, but I
There's
used
one
to
for the
play Hot
PC
Wheels
that
a
I
lot
own
when they really
actually.
first came out.
Yeah, hold on. I actually do own a Hot Wheels game. Let me see. Let me go to my Steam real quick. Whoops, that's not my Steam.
I don't think I don't think there were any games that I played that really stick out to me that got sold later on as a Flash game. Any games as a Flash game that got sold later on because they revamped it or something, other than Balloons.
Because there was Balloon Tower Defense. There was. There's No Time to Lose, a very funny game. Castle
I
Crashers.
played that.
Castle Crashers. Does it count? Because
I don't think that was a Flash game.
it wasn't a Flash game, but it was made by Newgrounds. It's
No,
probably
it
the
doesn't
only
count
game
because it
that was
was
ever made.
sold.
It was probably the only game Newgrounds ever made. I want to say no. Did they make BattleBox Theater, or was that just a nod?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know that game.
Yep. Here it is. Having Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Yep, And so in that case, then what'll happen is that that flash game will now be gated behind that thing. Anyone that wants to play it because it was fun can now pay for it, and then someone else, whenever they're making their own little flash games, that it's going to be free, and if it's good, then one day it'll be monetized. Like who said that? Like if you're able to do something and do it well, don't just do it for free because there are
Right.
things that exist in the world like you can't you like everyone's like, well, I just want to be happy in life. Well, it's awfully difficult to be happy if you're hungry, right? And so there is a line people need to walk in life and be like, okay, sweet, I have to be able to provide for myself and provide a service to society. And that service is going to be something that I'm going to do, and then I will get paid for doing it. And if I'm a creator, then that's what it is. Like if the carpenter just made a whole bunch of furniture and he was really good at it, but always gave it away for free, the carpenter would starve.
You wouldn't be able to make furniture eventually because you can't buy the lumber.
That's an even better point. Right there. That would stop it instantly. Why did you stop making tables? Can't buy any
Good.
more tables.
So, how do
I
you guys
ran out of
feel about?
nails.
God damn it! How do you guys feel about games that have free and paid for versions at the same time?
Like what?
Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, Yu-Gi-Oh has free games you can play, but it also has games you can buy. But essentially, still the same thing. You're just playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, but they offer different features, right? Because you'd be paying for the different features that one's offering. So if one's a crappy mobile game that they know no one's going to play because they just put it together, that's free. But if there's one that's actually pretty decent, allows you to connect with other players and is reliable, they can charge for that. And I think that that's just fair.
Actually, it's reversed.
Well,
The free version is the one where you get to play with everyone, and the paid version is the one where you're playing against no one, but the AI.
First thing that comes to mind is actually games with ads. You can have games
Oh,
for
gross.
free, but it's filled with ads all over the place. But then you pay $5 and all those ads go away.
Among Us does that. Among Us, the phone version is free. It has ads. If you pay for the one on Steam, there is no ads.
that's the same with all the Sega stuff too. So they're letting you do something for free, and they're like, we're gonna hopefully not annoy you until you give us money, but we're getting paid by our sponsors to get ads, and so it's a win-win. It's actually a very clever model. Um,
So there's actually this model, I've actually seen it applied to something really cool, and that's bottled water.
oh,
And I've seen somebody where it to make the water, it's a negative cost. So they basically just go out and hand people water, and on the water itself, it has ads. And the ads pay for the water, pay for distilling it, pay for bottling it, and they're just able to give out water for not free, but they're giving out water for the ad price.
interesting.
So it's not you're paying for water, it's water's paying for you.
Mm.
It's weird. It's
And now,
paying for
Roger, you
your
know how to
attention and
bear.
your
Bear
eyes.
comes you. Interesting. I like
And
that.
I thought that was really cool way to go about that because I wouldn't mind ads if I just got free water.
Yeah, that's actually really clever.
We're
But I
going to
would mind ads if it was integrated into my electricity somehow, kind of like what Roku was trying to do. They were trying to inject ads in straight into the HDMI.
Really?
Yes. I think they
Huh.
have a patent for it. So I think newer Roku TVs might have something along the lines. So I'm going to actually keep an eye out on that. But it'll have ads injected directly into your HDMI. So if you have, say, a Nintendo Switch plugged in and it sits idle and it says, "Oh, you're not using this device currently," yeah, it can just start playing ads.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, so depending on how they treat that, they can really, really ruffle some feathers with some people.
I need to go
Because,
refill my water bottle.
like, if, say, for instance, if they get it perfect where I'm actually not using my TV and it's just going to play some ads. And because it plays ads, the Roku TV gets to be a whole lot cheaper. I might be okay with that.
That's actually not. I mean, that's a good trade-off.
Like,
It's
if I
actually
can buy the TV for $5 because ads are paying for it, maybe I wouldn't mind it.
yeah.
But it's going to be profit into Roku's hands, and I can guarantee you because, like example, Netflix and all these streaming companies, they actually sunk deeper and deeper and deeper into borrowed money to the point where they eventually have to cash in on their monetization models, where they have to increase prices or they have to increase ads or they have to do something.
Mm. No, that makes sense.
But it is what it is.
So all I'm sensing is, Kyle, if we could get those packs of first edition Shadowless booster packs, and all we had to do was watch, let's say, roughly 4 days of ads, are you doing it?
Oh, yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat. If I could
Same.
just have ads just playing for 4 days straight and I get a pack of $6,000 Pokemon cards, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, because those booster packs. If it's just a first edition pack, it's $400. If it's a Shadowless booster pack, those things are worth $5K a piece. An entire
So that's
box
actually
is. God.
that's actually a good example. So ads themselves are not that bad when you actually get value out of them.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I
So
can see that a
Roku
lot.
releases that HDMI with the ads injected. If you don't get value out of that, it's not going to be worth it to the consumer at all. And why would they buy it? We'll just buy a different TV.
Yeah. Oh man, America.
Capitalism at its finest.
And
I can't
yet,
wait for
the-
legislation to be cycled out and we can get some younger people that actually know what's going on so we can get some legislation on technology that we need.
Yeah, the
yeah,
older generation are a little bit conspiratorial when it comes to technology and what it can do. Some of them with some merit, granted, but a lot of them like, okay, like let someone that knows how to operate the technology help make the laws of said technology,
Yeah.
which I'm 100% behind.
They have to go through like a technology literacy value or metric or something.
Ooh.
If we have somebody in Congress that can't turn on an iPhone or a Samsung phone or figure out how to turn it on at all, I would be upset. And I'm sure, I am 90% sure there are some people in Congress that are that way.
Probably, honestly.
Uh,
Actually, there's probably quite a bit now that I'm thinking about it. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, because there's no term limits, isn't there,
Mm-mm,
for
no,
congressmen
no.
and senators, which there should be.
Oh yes, there should be. That's a whole nother topic too. Holy cow, that is oof.
we're not
Term
getting into
limit,
politics today, sir.
or no, a better one. Or I shouldn't say a better one, but one that's just the same kind of energy. Um, Tenure. Should it be permanent? And should it let the people that have it do anything without any repercussions? Because
So can
currently,
you
yeah.
explain tenure?
So after X amount of years, usually 6 years at a college, a professor that has not gained an audience to be able to fight and get tenure will be fired by that university after 6 years. The seventh year is whenever they're able to apply and go through that whole tenure process. That's why a lot of professors and teachers will actually switch colleges and go around the country until they find a place that will let them get tenured. Now, you can only get tenure unless you sweet talk things, you know certain people, or you've contributed to a certain field. And this is the same across all colleges, right? And when I say colleges, I mean like the College of Humanities, the College of Mathematics, Engineering, all that stuff. Same thing. So if you bring in a lot of money for the university, your case about getting tenure is going to probably be really strong because you bring them money. You know. Um, that being said, whenever you are tenured, the things that they can do to either discipline, they can still let you go, but technically their hands are tied on a lot of things because unions have done certain things. And so like if you have tenure, you can say and do a lot of things and get away with a lot of stuff, and the universities will just kind of sweep it under the rug. Like there was a group that was up here that was like, there's this guy, he had tenure, he got in trouble, but he was like sexually harassing students. And so what they did is they transferred him over to a secondary college of theirs, still working, but because he had tenure, he had influence and power within the community.
That sounds.
Sketchy? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
only
sounds
know about this
sketchy.
stuff because I'm here. But it is what it is. Were you guys wanting this to be like an hour-ish long?
We still got one more topic to go, so we can keep going for another, I say, 40 minutes, or we can go for another 20. We finish off the topic. It's up to you guys. I don't know how busy the dads are.
I do have to get running here soon because we've been going for about how long? An hour and a half ish almost.
Hour 21.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, because I have to still put away everything from our trip. What's the last topic though?
The last topic was the D&D stuff.
Oh my gosh. The thing is I can talk about that for a solid hour.
I wrote them in. Hold on,
Well,
Heaven. Let me roll.
no.
Let me roll real quick. Let me roll my D20.
That won't affect my answer.
Yeah, it will. Hold on. I'm gonna roll this D20. It's for temptation.
I guarantee you it won't work.
Hold on.
But
See what happens. I got a 14.
Okay, but what are you adding to the roll there?
Let's do a charisma check real quick. Let me roll another D20 for my charisma. My charisma is 13. Ain't that good?
so I think going on to D&D would be for another topic,
That's what I
for
think
another
so too.
day.
Because there's so many things we can talk about with D&D 1. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many things we can talk about.
Because we kind of talked about battle passes and live services and a lot of video game stuff today. I think it'd be good to place to pause, and then we can move on to D&D in general next time.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm free on most of Saturday, so
Next
I
Saturday?
literally can just sit there. Yeah, I'm free.
Wait. I am not free next Saturday, actually.
All right. Well, I'm
Can we
around
do
for
it? Can we do it Sunday?
depends on everybody, but I think I might be able to.
I'll have
I'm
to
free
check,
Sunday.
but I don't think so.
We can make it work. We should probably then, if we're gonna cut it there, we can do our little outro. And we can talk about nitty gritties after, instead of on the podcast. We don't want to bore people.
Well, I suppose. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for coming in to see 2.5 Dads. And I, Crispin 500, the undead zombie from Time Splitters 2, bid you adieu.
What? You brought up such an old arcade game.
He's been hiding here the whole time. Everybody.
I'm so surprised you've ever played that game.
That
Time
makes
Splitters 2?
Yes.
That's a
Time Splitters 2 is
fantastic
great.
game.
It is
Yeah,
a fantastic game. I actually love Time Splitters.
That's where the name comes from.
Wait, Chris 500 comes from Time Splitters?
Crispin does.
What?
He was a flaming zombie.
He's a
But
really?
it was actually spelled with an I, not an O. I just like the O.
I thought you got it from Back to the Future because of Crispin Glover.
No.
That makes a lot more sense, actually.
Hold on. Crispin,
100%
Time Splitters.
too.
Yep, the screaming. Yep, his fire scream and his pain deaf voice clips are exclusive to him. He's the Crip Zombie.
Crip Zombie. Yep.
We gotta go hit up
Figured
an
you'd be a
arcade.
normal zombie that's been said all right.
Well, all right, we'll see you guys next time.